I
Yeah.
think so far
Yeah, and
Harmonix's team does have the tools to deal with it. But as you said,
there's a
the
Trundle.
Trundle from Wibbly comes out.
Okay, this makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so I just don't know very much about Invul, which makes it hard for me to comment on their team. Um, I think Silas is a strong pick into the enemy team. I think Silas has some really good ults to steal this game. I can see him. I think if when I look at that team, I don't know much about that ADC, so I'm not sure about the misfortune. But when I look at their team, I see Silas as the big win con. With the Alistar ult, the Ashe ult for picks, the Lilia ult for big team fight plays, even the Trundle ult for the 1v1. Um, Rakan, really strong champ right now, and I've got to say, looks strong into the Trundle Lilia Tristana playstyle, and even the Alistar. Um, I like that pick a lot. Very neutralizing against a very dive heavy team. Then again, their team is also quite dive heavy. We see the Poppy, we see the Jarvan, we see the Silas, and I can imagine some. I think what they're really going to be playing for this game is some of the big combos with the Jarvan ult and the Misfortune ult and the Rakan CC. We've got with the neutralizing forces like the Poppy and the Rakan. Actually, it makes a lot of sense to me. I think that both teams this game are quite coherent, but I do just think the Trundle. I think there are so many threats. There are 4 threats on Harmonix's team here, whereas I'd say there are 2 on Invul side, which naturally just makes it quite.
It's a spectator bug then, I guess. Oh, things
We're
seem
back.
to
We're
be
back. We're back.
working fine again.
Oh no, it's just the necessary bug after a pause, the time waste.
Okay, alright. Yeah, looking at runes, most things seem so standard so far. Alistair,
Yeah.
instead of opting for like the phase rush, or sorry, instead of the aftershock or guardian, or
Glacial Augment has gone for the
yeah,
phase rush.
glacial augment, has gone for phase rush. I think
The
it's
only
a fine choice this game.
the only one that kind of sticks out to me a little bit is the fleet footwork on the Tristana. Um,
Yeah, I
I
would have liked to see her go for something a little bit more aggressive against
yeah
a melee champ, but I'm sure it's fine. Me, like, to be fair, like one of the reasons I could potentially see that is just the way for Invul to win this is through their mid laner, right? Like the Silas
yeah
needs to
yeah
get ahead,
that makes
and
sense. Yeah.
making sure that there are less avenues for that to happen is not a bad thing.
A little bit of a the E comes out from Outlaw here, lands on the Lilia. That's actually a really big deal. If we look at the
Because
timers
she does
here,
not
1
even
minute
have
and
time
20
to
seconds,
recall. Yeah.
definitely doesn't have time for time to recall. I reckon Trundle's probably going to need to tank a few. Okay, that's a
For the
couple
Lilia.
pings on the misfortune. Definitely gonna have to tank some for the Lilia. Maybe not. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, it's gonna need a big leash. I
But
think
yeah,
Lily is
this
the
can actually, the Lilia needs to be careful now. The Jarvan can quite easily invade her at some point and kill her unless she recalls soon.
yeah, potentially. Although Lilia is kind of one of those champs that can just sort of deal with it, if that makes sense. You know, like
Yeah, that is true. She can kite
she,
out ganks pretty well. As long as she can dodge the EQ, the Jarvan will still lose.
yeah. I think the invade is dangerous, but I think she won't have any problem clearing. Enix walks up for a minion. They're really aggressive versus the Trundle. The Trundle gets a Q off and the lethal tempo stacking here. Q comes out again. Okay, I mean that. Yeah, I mean okay.
You
So
really
what?
just have to respect Trundle's
Yeah.
level 1 with
So
lethal tempo.
what we saw there was Poppy walked up for a minion
And Trundle
and
killed her.
Trundle beat the shit out of her. You just can't do that. Trundle's Q, in case anyone doesn't know, a give a flat like AD
Steal.
buff and a steal. Yeah, steals it from her. And combined with lethal tempo, that just gives him pretty much the most damage output of any level 1 character in the game. And we saw it there in full display. The Feb's W gets cancelled by the Jarvan EQ. The E lands from the Silas, and the Ignite comes down. That's a death on the Justana. We see what we thought we were going to see with Silas being played for here. Gets a kill. No Dark Seal or anything. Has a Doran's shield, but still. We see the Jarvan EQ onto the blue buff. I don't think he got it, but the Lilia is caught out here. The
Has
flash
to
comes out
flash
from the
away.
Rakan, but Lilia has to flash away. But then Dabis goes in on the Jarvan, but gets rotated on by the Misfortune and the Jarvan here. The Tristana goes in on the Jarvan, and the Jarvan dies. Is Dabis going to die to the Misfortune? The Dabis doesn't die to the Misfortune. Tristana gets a double kill. They're going to keep going with the triple kill. Gets a W resets. Can't get more, but that was just a complete fiesta. That was 4
Invul must be
flashes
so
used.
sad with like the small health bars of Harmonix barely surviving those
Yeah.
fights.
Okay,
It could have
so
gone so differently, but unfortunately for Invul, not their day.
yeah,
At
so
least not yet.
I think Jarvan's invade there made sense, but I think he just had to back out. We saw the
Yeah,
Rakan
once the
follow up with
Lilia
the flash.
flashes, I think you just have to give up and walk away.
Yeah, and then from there they got rotated on by their entire team. It actually looked close, like Davis and the Ashe might die at some point, but in the end, only one person
They'll
died,
just live off health.
being the Jarvan, and everyone else. Sorry, being the um Justana, but overall that was a
I think
3 for 0.
that's
The
a
EQ comes in from the Jarvan again onto the mid lane. Justana W's forward, gets the bomb proc onto Outlaw, but doesn't quite kill him before he dies to the damage from the two people. That's another kill onto the Tristana for the Sylas. Immediately, we notice a threat here for Invul. We're going to be focusing on the Sylas here, although Joe is committing what I deem #1 sin of taking XP when your mid laner has the wave clear anyway. But I mean, there's still going to be an advantage there for the Sylas, so it's not too big of an issue.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the Silas is still like double Tristanas. Yes, I think he's all right with that.
Poppy seems
Meanwhile,
quite out here. The Lilia
Harmonix
is
with
what.
a counter punch onto top side, but
Yeah.
Enix lives. Well
Phoenix
played by
lives,
him.
although the Jarvan EQ's in, but doesn't quite connect it. But the Rakan is here. The W isn't there though. Had to use it to get into E range. Lilia flashless, but not able to chase. Khan's on the other
Nothing
side of the
really
map.
happens, but overall, so far, advantage to Invul because I think they should be able to get the grubs off of that. The support
Yeah,
was just there
potentially.
faster.
Yeah. They do know they're doing the grubs, but I'm not entirely sure they'll be able to do anything about it. Tristana isn't strong enough. Wibbly has the wave pushing into him. Can't really leave right now. We're seeing a duel here in the bot lane.
I think so far though, the last, oh, as before I say that, there might be a kill in the bot lane, 1v1 with the
Oh,
misfortune
wow.
and the Ash. Oh.
Yeah, that's brutal. So, yeah.
I really wish the misfortune would have turned around a little faster. I think she had the Ash,
I,
but
I, I don't know. I think she might have just had to flash away.
that would have
Um,
worked too. But
I,
I
I,
guess I can respect the attempt.
I mean, okay, we see another in game. A good thing that Silas he didn't hit.
Overall, though, I think like the first fight around like our blue buff, I think tells us a lot about this game, right? Invul will look to go in, but their champs run out of gas pretty fast. And if they're not able to actually secure the kills onto Harmonix's characters within that time frame, Harmonix wins out on the extended fights with the Lilia, the Tristana, the Trundle, the Ashe.
Yeah, I see that. Like there, I guess there was kind of an example of it there where Miss Fortune had already propped her passive on the Ash and her damage output has gone down by quite a bit. I'm not sure she would have been able to kill there if she turned around.
No, I meant
Um,
the flight around the blue buff,
no,
like
I
the
know, but
invade.
I'm saying I agree with you. I'm just using that as another example of it.
Oh, right,
Um,
right.
these champs have very front loaded damage. The Misfortune, the Jarvan. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's it's an identifiable problem, especially when you compare it to like a lethal tempo Ashe and a Lilia, who remain pretty strong over the duration of a fight. We see a small engage here from the Ashe. The ult is there. The ignite comes out onto the Misfortune, but they know she doesn't have flash. The
They
cleanse
know
come
she
out.
doesn't
The
have
ult
flash,
connects onto the ult comes onto the Rakan.
and
The
2v2
Ashe
kill
has
for
Ghost and
the
the
bot
lethal
lane.
tempo. The slow from the passive. I'm not sure they're gonna be able to get away from there. Yeah, that's a double
The
kill for
Tristana
Ashe.
comes in as well, but just unnecessary. They may look to get Dragon off of this, possibly, but their jungler is topside. I'm not sure if they do it as a 3-1.
Maybe not there.
Doesn't seem like they want to know. I guess they're not really sure where the Jarvan is and don't really want to risk a steal. The mid wave being shoved in as well, so it makes sense for them to not commit too much on a flip.
Yeah.
Overall,
Well,
though, what points would you like what the teams to focus on from what we've seen so far?
um, I I think what I've immediately noticed is that they're focusing, like, if I take Invul, they're focusing on their mid lane. But a strategy like that only really works when your other lanes are sort of kept under wraps. that hasn't happened this game. There's a 40 CS lead top lane and a 3-kill lead bot lane. The solo
Yeah,
the lanes are just scary, and I'm not sure that Silas will be able to cope with them. But the game is subject to change. We saw it last game.
that's true. To be fair, though, I do think that Harmonix have a goal lead already, and I do think that their team comp scale is significantly better as well.
Uh,
So I think it's their game to lose at this point, I would say.
yeah. Oh wow! I mean, okay, that was almost a kill for Invul's bot lane. They kind of scale better. They scale into a like sort of disjointed game better with a split pushing top lane and like heavy pick potential with the Alistar and the Ashe. But I do think that Invul have a much scarier team fight. Um,
Yeah, I think if they're able to like just burst down like a couple priority targets at the start of the fight, it's a lot easier for them to win a full-blown 5v5. But realistically, I don't think a Trundle will give them that.
no, um, that's true. Trapdoor is probably going to be a big threat this game. Um,
Overall, though, so far we've seen Invul prioritize grubs, but Harmonix didn't really trade for a dragon on the other side either. Let's see if they will be interested in trying to contest the second set of grubs that have spawned.
I do think you kind of have to. I think 6 grubs is like a really strong objective to play for nowadays. We see the Ashe come out, but just goes wide, doesn't quite connect.
Yeah, I think giving over like 6 or even 5, honestly, grubs can be a big problem to deal with later on. And I think Harmonix wanted themselves to because they have a Trundle who makes great use of it later down the line.
Yeah. Jarvan EQ comes out here, gets a 3-man ult onto people when the Rakan W comes in, but doesn't quite connect both. Doesn't quite connect none of them, but Eclipse does fall. The Lilia flashes forward, hits the kill on 3 people, gets a 3-man ult. Doesn't quite get the full ult, so she does as well, but the kill goes onto CJ, but we see Tristan W onto the front line here. Gets the kill, but dies for it, but then both Jarvan and Poppy caught out by the damage from the Trundle here. The Silas is eating full, it gets the Trundle ult, but does quite kill the Alistar before he dies. Fuck.
Messy fight, but Invul
Messy
come out
fight,
on
but
top.
yeah, Invul favored.
Seems like they will be going back again onto the grubs as a 2-man with the Jarvan and Rakan having respawned. They
Yeah,
really seem to prioritize this. I wonder if it's just to deny it from the Trundle, because I don't really feel like it does that much for Invul.
no, dude, Void Grubs are so broken. I can't overstate just how unfair they need to be balanced. 6 Void
That's
Grubs is
fair.
like game winning. So
My
that's
thought
an enormous
process is
deal for
just
Invul.
they don't have like that much pushing power unless they've already killed
But
Harmonix.
that's kind of why they're good. Does that make sense? Because
Yeah,
they
but
don't
like they
have.
don't have a way of hitting the third because they don't have like the range for it.
I don't think that's true. I think with the misfortune and what I think what's strong about it is that it makes like Trundle doesn't need it, if that makes sense. Trundle doesn't really need it to push turrets. We just saw him do it there, but it makes the small hits over time, which I think the misfortune is, for example, is more likely to get in a siege scenario much stronger.
That's fair. I understand what you're trying to say.
Also, it makes like here also a lot stronger. It makes getting plates a lot easier. Um,
True.
Jarvan
I do
trading with
think
the
it
Trundle
helps.
here,
I was
but
just
I,
like
I okay,
wondering
yeah,
on that. Like, oh,
that's just a kill there. Jarvan really disrespected the Trundle.
yeah. I think
Misfor
Invul needs to recognize how strong the Trundle is and play around it a little bit more safe.
we
Is this a
see
solo kill?
Silas connect with the
Wow.
E, lands onto the stun
Silas
and gets the
just solo
kill.
killing. And I don't think Lilia wins this either with like the Silas being 2 levels ahead on her.
Like, okay, I feel like we've just seen a pretty big shift in game state. I
Yeah,
mean, I
that does
don't.
seem like it. With the fight win and the solo kill coming in from Silas, like it seems like Invul are actually a lot more in the game than I had initially thought. Credits
Yeah.
to them for coming back.
Um.
The goal lead has all but gone. It's about 800, which is still decent, but just doesn't really say that much. It takes
Yeah.
less than a fight for that to turn around.
Um. I think.
The
I think.
next objective
I don't
spawning
think.
seems to be Herald.
Yeah.
Will be interesting to see if the teams wanna contest that.
I don't think Harmonix's game has changed all that much. I think it's still just going to be Trundle. Um, I think they want to look for a rotation here onto Trundle, but that's one of the ones I don't think they could 2v1 him. Especially without Silas.
Yeah, I think like one of the big things as to why like that fight, I feel like was not the way Harmonix wanted it to go was because Wibbly kind of moved into the fight, and he's not as strong in a team fight as compared to like some of the other champions on Invul's team. If he had instead just elected to split push, while Harmonix decided to maybe hold them off, it might have worked better. But maybe they agreed with you and thought that the void grubs are just too damn important to really give up and felt pressured to contest, which I guess is a good job on Invul's part for being able to collect it in the first one and then
Yeah.
being there on time for the second
We
one
see
too.
they were going. Harmonix knew they were going for the Herald here, but they returned with the counter. They push in the mid lane, but there's a massive engage. The ult comes out onto them. The Lily is just instantly killed by the Jarvan and the Misfortune. The Ash falls in the back line to the Trundle, but they further engage him. The Jarvan has eco the Trundle, but the Trundle is just beating the shit out of all of them. The Rakan dives. Oh my god, Trundle! That was a disgusting fight to look at.
Yeah, it looks so good for Invul, but the Trundle had other plans.
To be
He
fair,
just hammered everyone.
it was a big engage, but not on the people it needed to be on.
That is true. I agree with that.
They sent Jarvan ult, Misfortune ult, and Rakano all onto Lilia. I think it was Lilia Ash, and
Yeah, I think it
like,
was those two.
and it's like, yeah, but you're not really doing anything to the guy that matters, you know. And we just saw what Trundle does there if he's left alone to stack his lethal tempo and have a Triforce.
Honestly, though, regardless of how the outcome was, I think it was a good attempt from
Herald comes
Invul,
out onto
and
mid
I
lane.
think
The dive comes out onto Davis in the back line. Jarvan follows, but doesn't quite get the kill before he dies.
unfortunately Lilia sleep procced just before he was in auto range to deal the final blow on Alistair.
I mean, Invul are just playing so aggressive, but I just don't. They don't have enough damage to be doing that. I don't think. That playstyle
The
only works when you can sort of guaranteed kill one person, but Rakan, Jarvan aren't the type of champs to do that. You know, I mean, the Misfortune didn't have ult for that one, and we
the
see the game.
next dragon should be spawning soon, and
If we see the game,
based off of the lane states, Harmonix should be able to secure it much easier.
yeah, we see Wibbly staying top lane. Has the Ravenous Hydra, I guess. He will
Do you think
annihilate
he
this
teleports
turret.
for it, or would you like to just see him stay top lane, even if it means giving up the dragon?
Yeah. I think I'd rather see him stay. I don't think Poppy will be able to stop him. Um,
That's fair enough.
I also don't even think he'd really necessarily need to TP.
Yeah, he so far
Um,
he has dragged out the Poppy here, and it's not like the Harmonix are weaker in the 4v4.
I mean, wow, that Trundle damage though. We see the dive come out. He's walking forward, but the Jarvan ult into the Rakan ult into the Misfortune ult. We saw exactly what we talked about. The Ash there just gets instantly killed, but Lilia is on the backline, lands asleep, lands the dust onto the three of them. Doesn't have the ult, but the Tristana comes in, gets the Rakan, then kills the Misfortune as well. Jumps forward onto the Jarvan, and don't know if he's gonna have his EQ time to get out, but no, that's just another kill. And Trundle killed. Meanwhile, Trundle killed Poppy in the top lane and is now pushing in here, while Silas is bot lane. Okay, Silas is bot
It,
lane.
it again felt
Um,
like Invul just used all of their resources on one person and kinda just forgot about the rest.
yeah.
This
That's not
they were able to blow up
not the
the
first
Ash,
time that
but
has happened.
yeah, unfortunately, like the Lilia and Ash just cleaned them up. Or sorry, the Lilia and Tristan.
Silas looking onto the Lilia here, steals the ult, but Lilia does get the dragon with the W smite before she dies.
Honestly, well played from the Scot, like to have the quick wits to be able to at least secure the dragon before he finally fell to the Silas. So far, the goal lead has increased massively in the last few
Yeah, it's
minutes
gone
for
up to
the side of
5k.
Harmonix. Uh,
I don't see Invul winning this. There also it should be noted Invul is just not playing with Silas right now, and Silas is 5 of their
by far
12
their most
kills.
red number.
I think the Silas's like map play this game has been really strange. I don't think we've been seeing enough like proactive play when we really need proactive play from him.
Yeah, it seems like the Misfortune, Jarvan, and Rakan are working together very well, but they really need the Silas to also be in on their fights. Otherwise, they
Yeah, but
really just
also the
lack.
reality is that Poppy can't match the Trundle. Like
Yeah,
she just gets auto queued, then dived. Um, so what?
it's really difficult to play when there's just an unstoppable side
Yeah,
laner just banging
yeah,
on your turrets every moment you look.
yeah.
And
This is
some of these engages from Inval, right? We've talked about how like they over focus on one guy, but I think part of that might just be the result of the pressure they're experiencing, the desperation to need to go, because if they take too long, the Trundle is just gonna end the game.
yeah. I don't think it's necessarily that they shouldn't be playing forward right now. I just think they need to be doing it with
I
Silas,
think like maybe if
they
not
need
for the
and they need to be doing it onto the right targets. We see Silas here caught out by the Trundle. The Silas seals the ult, but does go. The Kron goes into the back line. Wibbly is low, but can you kill Enix? A massive ult out from Misfortune. Kills the Poppy. The Alistar kills the Poppy, and no one from Harmonix dies.
low
Well,
health
they're
bars on
just gonna push the
everyone
turret
from
here, but
Harmonix,
they are
but
pinging here to look for more. Harmonix sees the Jarvan, gets a CC onto him, and the Lilia damage. Just on the W's in, Jarvan ults onto kind of no one. Ash does die in the backline. Ash and Trundle die in the backline to Misfortune. That's a massive shutdown onto Misfortune. They're looking for Lilia here. The Misfortune flashes forward, cleanses the dust. But Lilia does also have flash. We see Tristana here in the backline, maybe looking for a kill here. Gets a kill into the Silas. W's forward, gets a kill into Misfortune, and now Rakan is caught out alone. Yeah.
Harmon is just cleaning up. It almost looked good for Enwell, but unfortunately, the Silas ended up becoming too low HP to really contribute after fighting the Trundle.
Yeah, and Jarvan hex gated into the fight into 3 people who he couldn't do anything about. The Nexus
Maybe
turret
we
almost dives to
can just
minions.
not talk about that one. I'm
Um,
sure it was just a miscommunication.
not flaming, just what happened. Um, otherwise, that felt like quite a fate sealing play. Gold lane
Yeah,
just expanded.
Harmonix seemed to be headed straight towards Baron with their lead, and I think they should be able to secure it without too much that Enwell can do about it. And
Jarvan
if they
in the
do,
try
honestly,
push.
I wouldn't be surprised if Trundle just looks to go into their base and end.
Likely looking for the steal, but Lilia does find him. Is going forward here, doesn't quite hit the Q. Jarvan EQs forward onto her, but there's none of his teammates there. The ult comes out, and the W comes out from the Lilia. There's a lot of damage, but can Jarvan kill her before he dies? He cannot. Misses the EQ.
Yeah, it's
And
really
Harmonix
difficult for Jarvan
get
to
banged.
really deal with Lilia in these later on 1v1. She just has so much move speed, it's very difficult to actually hit any of your spells.
Yeah. Um, I don't see a wave back into the game for Harmonix here. Sorry,
Yeah,
for Invul here. They're gonna push mid lane here with the Baron Nashor.
it does seem to be looking really difficult. They need to get like some sort of wombo combo with like the Rakan, the Jarvan, and the Misfortune getting like
Yeah,
a 4,
they
maybe
need to get
5
it
man
onto
ult.
all 5 members of Harmonix, and then they might have a chance.
I think
We
that
fit
that would help them out a lot.
Jarvan going through the Hex Gate here. The just got okay. Well, that was just a poor shoving from Harmonix. The Assault goes wide and the EQ comes out. Thought I was about
Seems
to see
like they're
a
actually not looking to siege too hard and want to focus instead on getting the dragon. I would have liked to see Harmonix play more aggressive with their lead, but I guess they don't really have any reason to.
yeah. They've already got the Drake Wincon set up here.
Yeah.
And I mean, Void Grubs at this point are meaningless because I don't think Invul are ever hitting a turret again for the rest of this game. Um, I imagine they're just gonna look at a Drake again.
Yeah, but
I think they
they're
could.
wasting their Baron while they do this dragon, and sure, it sets up
I mean,
the
we see well,
soul point, but
just to rebut that, we see Trundle TPing top lane here. Invul are moving, like rotating towards him, but I think he knows that. It's backing off here, not greeting for the inhib or anything. Drake
I
goes to
feel
side
like
of
they
Harmonix,
could
with
have
nothing coming
done
back
this
in return.
after their Baron had worn off, though, and maybe have
Um,
gotten at least an extra turret. But better safe than sorry, I guess.
yeah.
It is a Hextech Dragon, to be fair, which I do think is one of the best in the game. So maybe Harmonix just really thought that was
Lilia walking
very
into the enemy
important.
red side here.
She
Doesn't
needs
get
to be
caught out.
careful. If she gets caught, it might not be the best for Harmonix.
Yeah, I mean, no jungle objectives to lose though. The only real point of consideration, I think, is the waves coming into mid lane.
Yeah, they need to
Um,
sync up their waves so that they can actually pressure them. Because at this point of time, Enwell just seems to be moving in a group of 5, clearing one wave to the next.
yeah. Which I mean, we do see them doing that now. Um, Top, mid, and bot all being pressured here.
Enwell need to find a great engage onto maybe the 3-man with the Tristana and Lilia, but it's so difficult with the spell shield on Lilia, the
Silas just
rocket jump
completely
on
annihilates
Tristana.
the Ash, who was just walking the vision out of vision there in the jungle. And
But
what?
unfortunately, they just can't commit to this fight still because if look at their base, the Trundle just is demolishing it. It barely even survives. Only one Nexus tower left. But
Poppy
maybe if
charges
they can
the ult.
actually get a
Jarvan
kill
ult onto
on.
the Jarvan ult onto the Trundle, just gets absolutely one shot.
Oh,
Silas is dying under the bot turret, and I think Trundle's probably just fucking winning it. Trundle is just
the,
beating the shit out of the entire enemy team, gets caught out under the turret and will eventually die, but Lilith slash forward gets the Q kill to Rakan. Kassan W full gets killed on Misfortune. The Poppy here is all alone versus 3 people. I imagine she's also gonna die. Damage does fall to the turret damage, and so does Feb. Feb doesn't quite die, and Poppy dies
I
to Lilia,
think
and
that
that's
is
GG.
the end for
Yes,
Invul.
that
They
that is
got
the
the
end.
Trundle, but they lost their Nexus for it. Well played
Well,
from Harmonix to pressure their lead and end in a timely fashion. Good attempts from Invul all around. I would like to see them be a little bit more respectful of the Trundle and maybe find some better engages in their next game. But honestly, great effort from them. And I think as the season goes on, they can develop to be a solid team.